Boopa. Alright, so this is Dota 2 Weebs playing on the Radiant versus Ugly Fam International, I believe, playing on the Dire. And as for Ugly Fam, I'll probably refer to them as UFI, just for my own sake. That is a mouthful, and I will refer to Dota Weebs as just Weebs.
Radiant team bad.
So Dota Weebs opted for first pick, and Death Prophet has been rising in popularity, although her competitive win rate is not something really to write home about. It's not really that impressive. She is a strong hero, and she lanes very well now. There's some build variation with like the Soul Siphon as the first skill point.
10 seconds remaining.
And like I see a lot of Soul Siphon at 1 still maxing Crypt Swarm, of course, and going in Aether Lens right to Octarine. Like you just have Brown Boots, Aether Lens, Octarine Core, and that build seems pretty strong to me. I think it's actually rather effective. Getting the Octarine in like the 20-25 minute range is probably, I think 23-25 is probably pretty realistic if you only have an Aether Lens prior, and you're getting decent farm and decent kills.
5 seconds remaining.
So she's a strong hero, and her ult got a slight buff. Ursa taken out and Doom taken out as well. I think the Ursa is just a preference thing. The hero is actually really bursty. And Witch Doctor taken out, another very, very popular hero in the 82L. I think he is 4th most popular, behind Venge, Dazzle, and Earthshaker. Invoker and Gyrocopter are still available, so we're almost certainly going to see at least one of those two heroes picked up in this first phase for both teams. Invoker, very popular. The Quas Wex as well as the Quas Exort builds, both fairly popular. Yeah, and there's the Invoker. Not really anything surprising or interesting or terribly innovative, but a safe, strong pick. And it would have been really risky, I think, for Dota Weebs to pass up on both the Invoker and the Gyro and not grab at least one. Tusk is also still available, and that hero is still very popular, so we could still see him as well as Slardar. So, the Invoker, I think
10 seconds remaining.
he beats most heroes in lane now. He's a very, very strong laner, and
5 seconds remaining.
it's even more difficult to deal with him if he has good supports able to back him up, such as the Dazzle. And I think Dazzle might be a good pick for Ugly Fam, not even just for themselves, but also as a deny pick. But there's Oracle, who some people think of as advanced Dazzle. I mean, this hero does everything. He can give you spell magic resistance, he can heal you, he can purge, he can disarm. He does so much, and his ultimate is like Dazzle's ultimate on steroids. So this hero is very good, and something I think that's really undervalued in the 82L is actually Oracle. The hero is very difficult to play, so it could be pretty challenging to pull off the combo correctly. And yeah, there's Oracle Shaker, and the Shaker doesn't surprise me, but Oracle kind of does. I mean, at this level, he's hard to execute, but very strong hero. So I think they actually have the good supports to deal with the Invoker, and they can rotate on him and pressure him really hard in the early game, and that'll help them secure their mid lane, and also make sure that they just don't get walked all over by this Invoker. Gyrocopter is still available, and probably not a bad pick here.
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, Gyrocopter is one of those heroes who's just so good. Like, he does so much. He's good literally every stage of the game. And if you put what's that spell? Alacrity onto him, that could be devastating. That's actually something really scary that Ugly Fam are gonna have to think about. But there's the Vengeful Spirit instead, and we may see Gyrocopter just banned out. And so far, both teams have two very strong picks, two very versatile picks as well. So not really sure what either team is gonna run for yet. You've got Ugly Fam possibly looking for another support. They could run the offlane Shaker if they wish, but I think it's more likely to be played as a support this game. And Dota Weebs as well, the Vengeful Spirit could be played as a core. So both of these teams having very, very versatile drafts, and it's going to be interesting to see what they go with next. And I think these third picks will
10
really
seconds remaining.
kind of define the draft and kind of shape how they plan to play the game.
5 seconds remaining.
So Viper and Dragon Knight banned out, 2 tanky mid heroes, and hard. And I think the Viper would actually line up pretty well against the Invoker. Just super annoying hero. And what's the joke? Viper counters everyone. I mean, even if you don't like Viper, he is a very strong laner. He's kind of fallen out of favorability. There's other better mech carriers, and even Shadow Fiend has kind of dropped in popularity. So the mech mid thing has kind of faded, and Dragon Knight, just tanky, early push. Alright, so Void and Drow, the last 2 bans. And Drow could have been decent with Dota Weebs' lineup, considering they have 3 ranged heroes, would have 3 ranged heroes with that. And Void, very strong area control and extremely good against the Invoker. Suddenly not able to invoke any spells, and that's absolutely brutal. Alright, so it's Ugly Fam, it's UFI's turn to pick, and they've got a lot still there for them. Beastmaster, I love this pick. This hero is so strong right now. And just the double boar slow and the ability to just stack up your ancients and retreat and farm that with axes if you fall behind. You can go kind of like a battler build and get a blink, but I really do favor the necro build. Just go towards a necro 3 as fast as you possibly can. Often seeing it as their first item and just take towers extremely quickly with Inner Beast plus the Necro Book and your 2 boars. The Hawk Vision, very valuable for spotting out potential rotations from this Vengeful Spirit or Invoker, and just a good solid pick.
Reserve time.
I think UFI are probably going to lean towards just what they have so far. They could go for something a little more early game, but a Lich might throw a wrench in the middle of that. This hero is a very powerful laner and can slow down push with Frost Armor, so it could be difficult, and I actually think the Lich is good response to the Beastmaster. Oh, one sec, I forgot to turn on my mic in-game, so I apologize. I do have to turn that back on. So, alright, so anyone watching in-game, I apologize. I did forget to turn my mic onto open mic. I will
10 seconds
do a quick
remaining.
rundown of these drafts. I think UFI are going to go for something a little more
5 seconds remaining.
pushy, or at least secure team fights. They could do both with their picks so far. Beastmaster's good at splitting up the map and just 5-manning. And Dota Weebs have a very strong early game draft. Lich does fall off though, while UFI's 3 heroes stay relevant for pretty much the whole game. Although Venge and Invoker stay good, the Lich though does fall off. The Chain Frost loses a lot of its potency, and there's a Spectre, so perhaps UFI are going to be definite. I think they have really good team to protect this hero. Oracle and Shaker can lane up with her. We could see a defensive tri-lane. Just the Oracle plus the Shaker with the Spectre. They could rotate with the Oracle Purge plus the Fissure. Yeah, this is... the UFI's draft is looking very solid, but Dota Weeb's draft is not looking much worse, so let's see if this 4th pick can kind of reveal their game plan, because I think UFI are going to be taking an almost 4 protect 1 approach. Just from what they've picked so far, it'll depend on what their mid is, but Beastmaster could also be their mid hero. And Spectre right now just very, very strong. I mean, she is absolutely crazy. And there's another build kind of rising where you just don't go Radiance. It's the Drums Diffusal build, and if it's looking bad late game for UFI, they could go for the Drums Diffusal build and try to end out the game in the mid game. Centaur, this is a really good way to bring the fight to them and really force on this Spectre. If you smoke open in the jungle with good vision, you can kill the Spectre pretty quickly with a Stampede, and I really like this hero. I feel like this hero is pretty underrated, at least at this level.
10 seconds remaining.
Just, he's a good laner. He should...
5 seconds remaining.
He's actually, I think, going to have a pretty rough time up against this Oracle Shaker. Oracle is one of the hardest supports to trade up against as an offlaner. Just, his auto attacks are so good, his range is good, Purifying Flames is just massive damage on like a 2.5 second cooldown? 2.25 second cooldown. Okay. So that spell is just extremely frustrating to deal with, and if he launches his Purge and then hits you with it, you're not going to get any healing at all, or maybe just 1 tick of it.
Team ban.
Luna taking out of the pool, and I actually think it's a really good ban. Like, Weebs have a really, really good 5-man lineup right now to go early. They've got the Venge Aura, they've got the Voker, Frost Armor, Stampede. I think Razor's a good ban here, actually. But yeah, Weebs, they could easily just try to get in their face and just deny the Spectre the ability to go late, where she really shines. And speaking of late game, there's Tinker, and I don't know how I feel about that pick. It's an interesting hero, and it could definitely, with Tinker and Beastmaster, they could definitely create just loads of space for the Spectre to farm and get really far ahead. But at the same time, it's risky if they can't get, I think, and Gyrocopter is the last pick for Weebs. They can definitely go early very quickly, and I apologize in advance. I'm probably going to be pronouncing someone's name wrong, and if I don't think I can pronounce their name correctly, I'll just say their hero name. I apologize. So, for these drafts, I think Dota Weebs have the safer draft. I think their draft is more, they can do more with it. I think Ugly Fam have really one way to go about this. They can just, they're like, okay, we're going to have to split up the map with our Beastmaster and our Tinker, and then farm up Spectre and try to get a pick off, like get a pick off with a Roar, make fights 4v4 instead of 4v5, while the Spectre just farms until she gets her items, gets basically 6 slotted, and then fights. And the same goes for the Tinker. If it goes late, this Tinker's going to be terrifying because they don't really have great catch. That's not true. They have pretty good catch for the Tinker. They've got Invoker, they've got EMP, so everything Invoker does. Swap, Stomp, Chain Frost can cancel the Travels, and even the Rearm channel, I believe, will get cancelled from that. So they have pretty good ways to deal with this Tinker, and decent ways to deal with, well, the only really good wave clear hero is that Gyrocopter, because Invoker's going to have to dedicate long cooldowns for it. So I lean slightly in favor of Dota Weebs. Their draft feels much more well-rounded to me, and it feels much easier to play, and that's the really important thing to keep in mind. Is this might not be, if Ugly Fam can pull off their draft, I think it could be terrifying. I mean, if this Oracle plays optimally and the Tinker and Beastmaster split up the map and the Shaker gets good fissure blocks to get them out of fights they don't want from the Centaur Stampede, and that's going to be big on Dota Weebs. They need to have good usage of their Stampede and swap to start fights. So again, I think Dota Weebs have the safer, easier to execute draft. So let's see. I wish I could. Oh, I can. Haha! I wasn't able to last time. While we're paused, I'm going to do a quick introduction of these players. And on the side of Fam, I guess that's probably what they want to be referred to as, and that's a little easier to say than UFI. Bo Bryan playing Spectre, Houston on the Shaker, Slam playing Oracle, Big Papa playing Beastmaster, and Salas City on Tinker. And on Dota Weebs, and again, I apologize profusely if I pronounce your name incorrectly. Shiro on Gyro, Rombai on Invoker, Shinoa on Lich, Cillian on Venge, or Cillian, maybe? I'm sorry. And Dune on Centaur. And I think, let's see, so the off lane of Fam is going to be the Gyrocopter, or sorry, the Beastmaster. I think this is going to be an aggro try coming out from Weebs. They're going to have the Lich, the Venge, and the Gyro, the Centaur. This Beastmaster's not going to get very much. He's going to have to try to farm with his boars, probably stack up Ancients, and that's not bad though. But it's a pretty good tri lane. It's actually a really good tri lane. These three heroes are very good early game, and putting them together to just pressure this Beastmaster, prevent him from getting his Necro fast, would just be would be really hard on Fam, because I think they need that Necro pretty quickly, or at least his first item if he chooses not to get Necro, and his level 6 needs to come out quickly so he can rotate. As for Fam, I think they're going to do a defensive tri-lane, solo this Beastmaster, and probably just move their heroes around the map once they get Spectre a little bit ahead of this Centaur, because she could have a difficult time against the Centaur. That's a much harder matchup than, like, okay, we get our Gyro a level or two ahead of this Beastmaster, and now we can leave him alone and he just farms safely. That's not as clear cut there. The Centaur is very bursty, could have kill potential, and here's a smoke coming out from Weebs, and this could be a good one. They have pretty good level 1 fight, but the Invoker started Sunstrike, which does a lot of damage, and they do have the lockdown to very possibly hit that Sunstrike with relative ease, and with them at the bottom of this hill, this could be terrible. They'll have no idea. They need to sit someone up on here immediately, or at least put a ward so that they don't get caught out like this, because this is a really good angle for Dota Weebs to come from. Oh, but he doesn't quite get it, and it's probably too late now, and an easy and quick first blood coming out for Dota Weebs, and if they're not careful, it could be more, but a good Fissure block, but is it going to be enough? And it looks like they're definitely going to lose this bounty rune at least, and really good play from Dota Weebs coming in from that angle was just huge, and they actually give their bounty rune to the Gyrocopter, and this is going to put them very far ahead. And first blood went to Vengeful Spirit, so she's probably going to be able to get her boots very quickly, and that could be pretty significant. Just because her able to move around the map more quickly is kind of scary. I mean, getting in range of that magic missile faster, zoning out the offlaner better. And yeah, it looks like it's going to be a tri-lane from both teams. Looks like this is blocked, and a pretty hard to find ward too. Although it does reduce his vision, he's still going to be pretty, because I don't think it really sees that. It sees like this, which actually that could provide some decent vision. And let's see, where was the button? Yeah, so this is what this ward sees, and that's not awful. I think it's good just for the block if it blocks, and it looks like it in fact did block. So this mid lane, I very heavily favor the Invoker in this mid lane, just because this hero is super strong right now. However, the supports on Fam could definitely rotate and prevent their Tinker from dying. I don't think this Tinker should die, but I think this Invoker will at the very least get ahead of him. And looks like this also got blocked, but they are going to be pulling from the large camp there, so good play from them to be able to try to zone out this Beastmaster, but this first wave of creeps might just be all he needs. Not a lot happening on the map, and Oracle trying to zone out this Centaur. He can trade pretty well with them, actually, I think. Looks like Beastmaster found this creep pull, and Vengeful Spirit is hanging out right up here, but I wonder if they may have scouted her movement out with this obs they have. And she's kind of far from the tower, and Tinker's actually doing fairly well in this lane, only a couple last hits behind this Invoker, and at the same level. In fact, a tiny bit ahead. And looks like they spotted him out, but I don't think anything's happening here. Looks like one of them's just going to try to grab that haste rune. Just going to punch at each other, but this could be bad. This could be a kill, and the Tinker gets the 1 kill. Shaker turns around, which means he jukes the Sunstrike, and this could be 2 kills. Ooh, tried to deny himself to the Ancients, but he's not quick enough, and just gets punched by the Shaker. Really good plays from both the Shaker and the Tinker, and that could change how this whole mid lane goes. And this is exactly the start I think Fam want. They need to get a lot out of their lanes. They can't lose that much of their lane, and Beastmaster's in a little bit of trouble, but he's going to be able to walk away. His boar gets farmed up, which is pretty bad, I think, but it's not as bad as losing his life. Because this mid lane, this Tinker is going to be very, very good now, and I'd actually still really like to see this Vengeful Spirit go bot, because then this Beastmaster is going to have a much harder time staying alive. And she goes top, so it looks like aggro dual lanes, and that's not that bad. At least they have the Lich in the off lane, which is where he just really shines. The ability to deny creeps, and just really strong in this lane. Looks like Gyro is getting some decent farm, but still behind the Spectre, who has gone almost entirely uncontested this game. And with Oracle backing her up, it's going to be very hard to kill this hero. I would like to see Oracle pulling from this camp, or at least stacking some stuff for their Tinker. Looks like Shaker's going to secure that top rune. He is scouted out by this Radiant Obs Lord. Voker looks like he wants to contest, but gets fissured in and won't be able to get the rune in the end. And in fact, takes some harass from the Tinker missiles.
Yes.
Lich has an Arcane Rune, and that could be annoying. 5-second cooldown on Blast. This could even be a kill. But the board slow is just too much. Lich trying to get in range for another Ice Blast, but not going to be able to find it.
All things fall.
Shaker got pinged out from Radiant, so that ward actually doing work, and seeing this spot I think is the important part. Is you could actually catch someone who walks up like this pretty easily, but it looks like they're going to position on this Centaur, but it looks like they just missed the block with the fissure, and unfortunately without that fissure block they cannot get a kill. But Venge shooting out a magic missile, and I don't think that was entirely necessary, but not a bad play either. So definitely these heroes getting all the farm that they want. Tinker already hitting level 6, and Invoker, so he's about, and wow, Tinker's almost a full, probably 2/3 of a level ahead of this Invoker. Those 2 kills doing a lot of work for him, and that's what they need. They needed this Tinker to do decent in his lane, and this Beastmaster to not die, which he hasn't died yet, so far it's looking very good for Fam. Dota Weebs are probably going to need to start applying pressure somewhere. The Shaker's probably scouted out by this ward, so Invoker going to be playing a little bit back. Lich just farming up the boar, and Beastmaster's skill build. Yeah, he's doing the max boar build, which totally standard these days. No one really maxes axes, and you really don't get points in Inner Beasts until later in the game, so you don't push. And I actually just missed Invoker get a kill on this Shaker with the help of the Venge. I apologize, but that should help give the Invoker a little bit of a boost. And Viz Tinker going bot though, and all they're going to need is this boar slow to try to get some kills. And who is that TPing? Shaker is TPing. This could be very dangerous. This Gyrocopter might lose his life, and if they can get this Gyrocopter, then that death of the Shaker is completely worth it and totally fine. Because if this Gyro dies, but he does have call down, if this Gyro dies, then it's a totally worthwhile trade for Fam. I think they would gladly trade away the life of their Shaker to slow down this Gyrocopter, who is farming pretty well and pretty quickly. Yep, he's only 6 behind the Spectre, and this Venge running around the map a lot. She went the 1-1-1 build. I don't think she needs Point and Vengeance Sword just yet. I think she could have got either another Point and Wave of Terror or Magic Missile so that they get some kills a little bit faster. Alright, so here's the rotation, and Tinker's right there and ready, but Gyrocopter knows something is up, and unfortunately the Creep Wave is back. I don't think they should try to go for the Lich here. I think they need to get the Gyro. The Lich isn't worth it. Tinker spending a lot of time down here, and all the while Invoker pressuring that mid tower and getting solo XP. The axe is just barely missing, and Venge going a little far out, but I think Dota Weebs are very happy with how that turned out. Fam wasted a lot of time and a lot of resources getting down there, and unfortunately the Beastmaster wasn't level 6 and had pretty low mana, and at just that moment the Creep Wave pushed in, so they weren't quite able to get the kill. Looks like Spectre's having some technical difficulties, so she decided to go for Phase Boots, which is alright, and she may actually go for the battle builds I think normally you see them go treads. I could also just be wrong. I'm not much of a Spectre player, so I don't know enough to really comment on that. But right now, she doesn't have... She's got okay farm, and she could go for either build, I think, at this point. I think this Oracle should start rotating a little bit, maybe. Give her some solo XP, get her level 6, get her some... I think that would be good. Move this Oracle out of lane, maybe get some stacks going, and there is a stack there, and... Okay, never mind, they have 2 stacks, and... Kind of hard for Spectre to farm the stacks, but the Tinker can. And that's the important thing. I don't think this is one of the stacks he can double farm. I don't think. Let's see, what's the... I don't know the exact range on March, but he's probably not going to be able to farm both of those up, and... We'll see. Let's see. We're still paused, waiting on the Spectre to come back, and Beastmaster going for the Necro Book. That's totally standard, and I think once he gets Necro 2, it's going to be pretty scary. He's going to easily be able to solo kill these supports, and the mana, like, I think a lot of people underestimate how much damage Necro Creeps do. They do huge amounts of damage and are absolutely terrifying to play up against, and if he gets them online early, and this is in a bad timing, if he can, I would wager 12-ish minutes at the latest, if he just doesn't farm that much. Let's see, it's a total of 2.6k for Necro. 2.6, 1,000, so he's got like 1,400 to go, or 1,600 to go, and that shouldn't be too bad to farm up. He can farm up stacks with axes if he wants, and once he hits level 6, they're going to be able to start finding some kills all over the map with Roar. Although I'm a little worried about the follow-up. They're a very bursty team, but their sustained damage is pretty bad until that Spectre gets items. Although Oracle does do pretty large amounts of damage. So that could also be the case. Invoker level 7, and I believe he's caught up to the Tinker in levels now. Yes, he's actually ahead of the Tinker in experience because Tinker's just spent so much time at bot lane and sitting on 2k gold. I wonder what he's going to buy. Could it be a Midas? I suppose, but it's not too late for a Midas. But I feel like he's got to get something soon. Gyro level 6 and Spectre still only level 5, so I really think this Oracle needs to leave this lane so that Spectre can get the free XP, Spectre can get all of that. Just get the levels, because she needs them. And I'm kind of surprised. I think this is actually going to be the farming build. If she's not going for points in Desolate, then she's going the farming build, I believe. It's just a friendly hello from Mr. Rom by Cube. Guys, how... There's a lot of drawing on the map from Dota Weebs. He drew a snake. A sneaky snake? Is it a sneaky snake? A heart. And like an anchor? I don't know what that is. There's an arrow. Oh, there's like balls. Spectre's finally returned, and hopefully we can get this game back underway with little to no more delays. Yeah, this Oracle I think could be performing, like doing more service to his team on the map, and are these just 2 tangos on the ground? I don't know. Shaker putting a lot of pressure on around the map, walking around, making those 2 kills they got in the mid lane possible, which really set up this Tinker for success, but I'm worried that spending so much time at bot lane might have thrown it all away. Centaur getting ballsy, knowing that he's at least the same level as these guys, and probably not that much to fear, although he did go 3 points in return, which is pretty interesting and a very, very defensive build. Oh, this Spectre's in trouble. She's not going to be able to get the dagger to get out of there in time, and unfortunately Oracle left the lane at just the wrong time, but even then I don't know if he would have been able to save her. Good rotation for the Gyrocopter, making sure they shut down this Spectre, and now it could be looking bad for Fam. This Spectre just can't afford to die early game. but they might get at least a consolation prize of some kind. And instead, Beastmaster decides to farm up the camp, stop the pull. And now 2 rotations coming in. It's the Gyro and the Centaur, so Stampede online, but maybe a little premature. Yes, they're not going to be able to do it. But Tinker walks right into the enemy team and just immediately blows up. Poor, I think, a communication error on the side of Fam, and really unfortunate because they just lost their 2 most important heroes. And oh, 5 health on the Beastmaster, very close. Good Sunstrike from the Invoker, but it's just not enough. So, Dota Weebs getting a lot of momentum here and really slowing down the progression of Fam. And Spectre going the Vanguard. Yeah, this is the farm-oriented Spectre. This should be a Vanguard. And if you can get a Vanguard early and that window is closing very fast for this Spectre, then it's good. But I think she's only like 400 gold away from it. So that'll make her... It's safer for her to farm then. She takes a lot less damage with Dispersion and the Vanguard block, so we'll have to see if this ends up working out for her. But this is one of the weaknesses of Spectre. She just can't jungle, and maybe she could invest in an Iron Talon, a little bit more tankiness, and the ability to actually take some jungle camps. Because these stacks in the jungle are definitely for the Beastmaster and the Tinker, not the Spectre. It would take her far too long to farm those stacks. But here she is trying anyway, and Dispersion doing a little bit of work. But Centaur comes in to steal the stacks in the end. And both of these heroes both these 2 players going very, very defensive builds with maxed out Return and maxing out Dispersion. Neither of them... I don't think the Centaur needed the 4 points in Return. I don't think it's maybe terrible. But he doesn't have so much strength right now that it's going to be returning a particularly huge amount of damage. And they really want him, but I really don't think they're going to get him. Stampede's available, and they have very light cooldown. Or very light crowd control, sorry, and Stampede's cooldown is fairly short, though. Only a minute and a half. You can use that spell very liberally and get away with it. Looks like Shaker decided to leave, and head to the mid lane. Maybe they're going to try to get this Invoker. They put down a ward so they can see the other side of the river a little bit. And Beastmaster now only about 1,000 gold away from his
middle tower is under attack.
His Necro Book, and that's a pretty good timing. So he should have it by about 12.5 minutes. And Spectre actually finishing her Vanguard. Not a bad timing. 11 minutes, considering she died and her farm is still the top in the game. She's going to be very hard to bring down now, especially with these supports sitting behind her the whole game, and now with False Promise ready. But it looks like Dota Weebs might want to try for that anyway. And all the while, Invoker pushing in the mid, getting basically free farm, while Tinker sits in the jungle trying to farm the stacks. But it's very slow now thanks to the Magic Resistance Orb added in the last patch, and so unfortunate. Another nerf to Tinker, who definitely did not need nerfs.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, this Spectre taking very little damage, and now with max Dispersion plus her Vanguard, yeah, she's going to be very tanky. And while this is happening, Invoker does take a mid tower, and now he's just about a level ahead of the Tinker, and that's pretty bad. I think in order for this Tinker to compete with this Invoker, he needs to be ahead of him, not even or behind. I feel like if Fam are playing from behind, they don't come back very well, whereas I think Dota Weebs can come back if they're behind. I mean, they've got Gyro who farms fast, Invoker farms fast, they've got Venge and Lich and Centaur who can make good plays, have good ultimates, and it's just... It's a pretty... It's Fam is on thin ice. They have to play really, really well or they're in trouble. I mean, just from... It's not just the draft. It's... but that's the nature of their draft. The odds... It's not saying they can't win if it keeps going the way it has been. And in fact, I think if it just stops here, like they stop the bleeding here, and like, alright, we're getting items, we're moving around the map, we're making plays, our Spectre's not dying anymore, then they can be fine, because Tinker's farming up the jungle, he's only about 100 gold from travels, and I think he would have liked that probably a couple minutes sooner. And this bot tower looks like it's going to be denied unless Gyro gets there just in time to stop it. But no, Tinker's definitely going to get this denied. A little bit of gold denied for them, but you have to consider they have also lost a little bit of map control now, losing both mid and bot tower. I mean, they've lost a lot of their Roche advantage, and this whole section of the map opens up for the Radiant. It's like Beastmaster sacrificing his boar, but it did time out, and now denied. Tinker with travels, so he could probably start split pushing now, but he doesn't even have a soul ring, so maybe not. His mana pool is very low. They're scouted out by this ward, and they see the shit. They see him, but will there be any? There's no follow up to the roar, and they're just gonna roar and back off. Throw down a quick. Oh, but now Spectre's in trouble, and here's the Stampede and the Chain Frost. Spectre ulting, and oh man, very good, very good. Lich ult, good call down, and unfortunately that there was just no follow up from that roar. There was no one in position to go to follow up on the roar on the Invoker, and these heroes are all fairly low, and if that roar had just waited a little bit longer, then maybe they could have got that fight. And just unfortunate they can't keep losing fights like this. They need to keep their Spectre alive, or else their chances late game look very slim. Gyrocopter and Invoker are good late game, and I think they're really banking on a Godzilla type Spectre to carry them forward. Looks like another pause coming out. Spectre disconnecting right at the tail end of that fight, and that's unfortunate. She was dead anyway. Good Chain Frost, good movements from Dota Weebs. The Centaur ult was good, allowing them to catch the Spectre. And the Centaur very close to Blink Dagger now. If they take this tower, he should only be about 100 gold away, and that's gonna make it really scary for FAM, and they're gonna have to start worrying about, you know, getting their Spectre picked off just at any given time with Stampede, Blink, Stomp, and she could die very quickly now that this Invoker is starting to get ahead. Let's check the net worth. Gyro at the top, and Spectre just about 600 gold behind him, so not an insurmountable deficit, but it is something to be worried about. Yeah, there's a 5k gold lead for Dota Weebs, so see if this Venge could just blow up to the Oracle. And she actually gets blown up by the... Can they get him quick enough? Oh no, unfortunate. But they might get a consolation prize. But the Stomp catching two, and now Cold Snap and Flat Cannon and Rocket Barrage, and Oracle ults himself. But will he be able to heal himself enough, or is he just gonna die? Let's see if he pops. Not quite enough. And Beastmaster's back, and now Gyro might... Ooh, the Ghost Walk saving the Invoker in the end. That rocket would have probably been the death of him, and Gyro just walking away. Good fissure from the Shaker, but unfortunate they couldn't get any kills from that. Pretty hectic, long-winded fight there, and Spectre comes back, and I think at this point she's died too much, and I would probably opt for the battling build. Get drums, get diffusal, get some value items, just be tanky. A lot of your damage is going to come from dispersion with this build, but once you get the diffusal, your illusions will do a lot of damage, and it gives her some fighting potential mid-game, and maybe late, and then you can just try to go late and get your Manta style and Butterfly. Gyrocopter probably going in SNY, and this hero does farm very quickly. There's a large Radiant Ancient stack. Unfortunately, it did not stack this one douchey dragon. Stop the pull. Beastmaster delayed his Necro even further from that death there, and they just can't have that. And did Spectre DC again? It's very unfortunate. Lots of pauses this game. Tinker trying to farm up this camp, and he needs it because now Invoker... Them Invoker actually at the same... And yeah, Dota Weebs are actually fully within their right. They've probably far exceeded the normal pause time. So this is within the rules. And... So yeah, this is fair within the rules, but back to the game at hand. And Tinker forming up the stack, and he does have a Soul Ring now, and I wonder if he's going to go Dagon or Blink Dagger next. This is a pretty good amount of gold coming his way, and especially once these Magic Resist creeps die, then he will be a lot better off. But I don't know if there's two or if the little centaurs just died, so it looks like there's just the one Magic Resistance aura. Yes, there's only one Magic Resist aura, and so Tinker can farm this stack a little faster now. Lich ult cooling down and only 700 gold away from a mechanism. Centaur does have Blink, so lots of items coming out for Dota Weebs, but not very many coming out for Fam. And unfortunately, the Shaker's only level 4. He does not have Echo Slam yet, and that'll be instrumental in like salvaging these fights for them. Spectre could be in trouble. The Centaur and the Venge are right there, and she's doing the max magic Wave of Terror build, I should say, not Magic Missile, and I like that build more. Oh, looks like he went back to max axes, perhaps to farm a little bit faster, and unfortunately this ward set's scouting out the Spectre and the Shaker. Looks like several heroes on the side of Fam are coming up, but they're all going to get scouted out by this ward, and it's just going to be a big waste of time, and Dota Weebs are going to look elsewhere. It even seems as though they ping out that ward spot almost as soon as it's planted, so. And an invisibility rune spawning right after that haste rune. Let's see if the Lich picks it up, or hasted invisible Lich. I don't know if he's going to be able to accomplish that much, but Beastmaster farming up the jungle, trying to finish his long overdue Necro Book. Spectre, I'm not sure what she's going to go, but it's really dependent on how this Spectre goes, and if this Tinker can create space. He's now capable of doing that with his ult up, and they're TPing heroes up top, it looks like, or Tinker's. There's Beastmaster, but with Venge here and the Stampede, this Beastmaster is going to get right-clicked down by these two supports, and really unfortunate. But with the Boar slow, then it's totally possible that they could have people die. They even Chain Frost the Boar, which might have been a little bit of overkill, and while that's happening, Spectre dies, and they only get the Lich in return. They lost the Shaker, the Spectre, and the Beastmaster in this, and only get the Lich back, and that they just can't afford this, and it's going to slowly start snowballing out of control, I think. Dota Weebs have a very snowbally lineup. If they get a little ahead, they can take objective after objective, and Fam really need to just stop the bleeding at this point. They need to just stop losing their heroes or start taking favorable trades and just start pressuring around the map. Have your Tinker and Beastmaster split push and just pressure the other towers. Have your Spectre just as safe as possible by creating space everywhere else on the map, and maybe you smoke ganks to rotate this Shaker and Oracle around to try to make kills happen with the Beastmaster and the Tinker. His Beastmaster is still 600 gold away from his Necro Book, and he just has been completely ineffective after those first couple deaths, just unable to find that Necro Book, and now he's not really going to accomplish that much, it feels like.
For the dead.
Spectre grabbing a regen rune, throwing her dagger up there to scout, I think.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Unfortunately, Tinker TP to the boar that was just about to die, and I don't know if they can kill this Invoker anyway. With Roar and Tinker damage, they might, but they're scouted out by this ward. Spectre might be in trouble here. Gyrocopter coming in, but Tinker canceling his TP. But the Spectre is very tanky, so it doesn't look like she's going to go down in the end. Beastmaster finally grabbing his Necro Book, and after a couple unfortunate deaths, it was very delayed, but perhaps now we could see the split push start happening, and maybe they just try to create as much space as they can to get this Spectre caught up, and she's about 1,400 gold away from her Sacred Relic, and she's going to need to get that Radiance very soon if she wants something to come of it. Gyro going for the SNY, and not too far off. I believe only about 1,000 gold-ish. Maybe a little more. They smoke up just the Oracle on the side of Fam, and Tinker TPing in mid. Looks like they want to try to take this tower, but will they be, or they want to do something mid, but I'm not sure what. The tower is gone, and they don't have, I think Weebs have way better team fight than Fam. Maybe they want to try to take a fight while this gyrocopter's a little low, and Spectre looks like she's wanting to take a little bit of a, take that last Ancient, get her a little bit closer to her relic. That'll increase her damage pretty substantially. And you scout out the Spectre just as that Ancient Camp dies. And quick blink from the Tinker, and now there's a Hawk scouting the almost the entirety of Dota Weebs. Spectre TPing top to farm, and Tinker canceling his TP. Oracle grabbing an Illusion Rune. He's level 8, has Urn. Tinker, not sure what he's going for next. Well, he did get the Blink Dagger, so that was his next item. But following that, I'm not quite sure what he's going to go. There's a lot of options for him here. He could go Dagon, which I don't think I like that much. He could go Scythe, would be really good here. But it'll take a long time to farm up either of those items. F-Blade, but you probably don't want the F-Blade till after like a Scythe. Get some int items. And this is how Fam needs to go about it. They need to just like turtle up, split push with the Tinker, create space, pressure other lanes, and have the Spectre just farm. But Dota Weebs do have a draft that can take advantage of that out of that kind of like mispositioning from this hero, from this Beastmaster, but unfortunately they don't get anything. But the Necrobook was expended, and they're just gonna die. I actually need to check. One of these creeps has an aura, but perhaps it's just a higher level. Okay, yeah, the Archer has a slight attack speed aura. Okay, I knew that, but I needed to make sure. Alright, here's the Gyro farming, finishing up his S and Y, and I imagine BKB will be his next item. Spectre TPing out just in the nick of time not to get caught by this Invoker. And right now is the worst possible time for her to get caught by the Invoker, and she has a TP being brought to her in the Courier. Looks like they're going to leave this stack for the Tinker, and she's just going to go farm up top, and Lich finishing mech. This means Dota Weebs can just push, 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 and fight as much as they want. They're a very, very good fighting lineup. Alright, looks like a good fissure block to maybe stop anyone from dying here. Good fissure from the Shaker, preventing any deaths down and creating a lot of space for this Spectre. This is exactly how Fam need to play if they want to come back into this game. This Spectre has been alone for the past few minutes. Now can probably, I think she should send that Courier to the secret shop so she can get her relic. And she needs to get out of here now because she's going to get stunned, but it's just the Centaur, so I don't really think he has the damage. Yeah, she's just too tanky. Dota Weeb's trying to pressure the bot lane, but Tinker March and their loss of their creep wave preventing that. Spectre bought the recipe first, actually. Kind of surprising, but she's still only about 1,000 gold away, and if she dies, though, what's the death cost, does it show me? 330, it'll put her even further behind, and perhaps with her Vanguard plus Dispersion she can take this stack, but I'm not quite sure. The creep's taking a decent amount of damage, just slowly getting chipped away by her dispersion. It's like Dota Weebs are smoked up, but they might just get, their smoke might just pop, but they might just find this Oracle who unfortunately walks right into them. Shaker might be able to get away, but nope, swapped back in and just quickly taken out. And Tinker trying to buy time for his team, and he might actually get a kill on this Lich. Nope, but just barely. And unfortunately, the Ancient stack from Fam is going to be taken by the Gyrocopter. And that's a lot of gold lost for Fam, and they're already in a pretty bad state, but they've stabilized a little bit. They stopped, they stopped giving away free stuff mostly. So hopefully they can keep this up and might be able to come back into the game. Their Spectre only 500 gold away from her Radiance, but if she's not careful, she could lose her life.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Dota Weebs taking a tower bot lane and now rotating up to try to get this Spectre, and she's slowed. The gyro's coming out, and good jump. Where'd the Spectre go? She went bot onto a TPing enemy, I believe. Well played from Spectre. Beastmaster getting a little closer to his Necro 2 now. And this is right where Spectre wants to be, I think. Just farming up this lane and being right there, ready for her Radiance, and she's got it now, and it's on the way. So Spectre recovering very nicely, I think. Now these illusions are really going to do some damage to this squishy Venge and even squishier Lich. Without any TPs and no Venge Wave to scout, they're not going to be able to catch out this Tinker, but Invoker going for the Boots of Travel, probably trying to get some jumps on the Spectre and the Tinker, who are just going to be splitting up the map until they're comfortable, ready to fight. Tinker is going the Dagon route, so a little more bursty, but once that Gyro gets BKBs, he's going to have to be a little careful, and Gyro's very, very close to a BKB. Not to mention the Pipe from the Centaur already kind of hurts the BKB choice, and the Pipe will actually be decently effective up against the Spectre, so good job from the Centaur. I think that was a really good itemization choice from Dune. Spectre's farm will be greatly accelerated now with this Radiance, and we'll have to see what she goes for next. I imagine it'll be a Manta style or a Diffusal Blade, both fairly popular, but the Manta would make her a lot tankier. They roar the Centaur and are trying really hard to kill him, but he's just so damn tanky. They're TPing in one hero, and great Frost Blast, just bouncing on the Spectre, and now the Lich, and back to the Spectre. She took a lot of damage from that, but this Invoker got a little ahead of himself, I think, grabbing that DD. That's a good trade if you're fam. I think they're really happy trading away their Beastmaster for that Invoker.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, 1,200 gold for fam, just for the Invoker, and now this is starting to look a little scary. If they've got to take safer fights, I think, or possibly just Death Ball. They have the mech advantage. They've got a Pipe. They've got a lot of ways to Death Ball efficiently, but they're just content to farm, and that's dangerous up against the Spectre. No matter how far ahead you are at the time, it's a little scary to try to play the farm game against Spectre. We'll see though, this Invoker was playing pretty well up until that point, and could very possibly kill off the Spectre regardless of how far ahead she gets, but she's well on her way to her next item, just finishing her Radiance 2 minutes ago and at another 2k gold. Because I believe the kill on the Invoker went to the Spectre. Yep, 582 gold just for the Spectre. And this looks like she's going Manta style. Already having her Yasha, her damage output is going to be very high now. Dota 2 smoking into Roche. They have a good draft to kill it, but they might have been scouted out. Yep, the Oracle very unfortunately walking by just as they do it. And they might be able to make it though. Shaker does not have a blink. Then thanks to the Venge, they're going to be able to kill this very quickly, but Tinker stole the Aegis! Good Spectral, and this is going to look really bad for Dota Weebs. The Spectre's here, and the Tinker's stealing the Aegis. They lost pretty much everything that they wanted from that, but Spectre might go down in the end. No, she doesn't. And now Tinker just tearing them apart. Absolutely fantastic play from Salicity, and still alive, but oh, they only lose the Oracle. Just really lucky timing from that Oracle being at the right place at the right time, scouting out that Roche attempt, and just good snipe from Invoker, but absolute disaster for Dota Weebs. This, I think this could change really the whole pace of the game. I mean, the Tinker stealing that Aegis really saved them from something bad. I think it was smart for Dota Weebs to go for Roche. They have a fast rushing lineup, and if the Oracle just hadn't been there, they would have gotten it. And it's just so unfortunate for them that the Oracle just happened to be walking by that spot and saw the Wave of Terror come out. And now Dota Weebs are going to be playing from behind because massive gold shift, about 5,000 gold swing in favor of FAM, and that was exactly the fight they needed, all made possible by good positioning from the Oracle and really good and fast play from the Tinker. Beastmaster now finished up his Necro 3, and Tinker is still sitting on Dagon 1. I wonder if he's going to go, what he's going to go for next, actually. Yep, he's going Scythe, it looks like. Once he gets that, it's going to be very hard for this Invoker to contribute to his team. Just absolutely fantastic play and really, really important. I think they could have this could very well win the game for FAM. Just Dota Weebs have lost a huge amount of momentum, and that matters a lot in the amateur leagues, and not just amateur leagues, but loss of momentum and loss of morale can just devastate teams at every level of play. Tinker might be in trouble. He's going to need to blink out now. Good blink back. His team is there to protect him. Oracle's healing him up. And I wonder what Beastmaster grabbed. He had 400. Oh, he just grabbed the wand. He needed some stats. The Necro 3 was very, very late. Spectre, very, very close to Manta style. Only about 500 gold, 400 gold, 300 gold. Yeah, she's going to have that Manta in the next couple minutes, and when she gets that, she's going to be even tankier than she already is, and her next item could be something like a Scotty or a Butterfly, and then suddenly Dota Weebs just can't kill her. They have very poor answers to deal with the Butterfly on the Spectre, and now with the Manta, she can get out of an Orchid and eat up some of those Lich Ball bounces. Gyrocopter does have BKB now, though, and that could help a lot. It nullifies a lot of the Tinker's damage and should nullify the Radiance damage as well. Oracle not quite level 11 yet, and Earthshaker finishing up his blink. Interesting skill build. Usually I see Fissure max the stun duration skills. Okay, I guess, but maybe he wants a little more of a DPS oriented build. Dota Weebs have Force smoked up in the jungle of FAM, and are they going to find someone? But they might just get this Oracle. And I don't think that's worth it because it looks like FAM might rotate to... might be collapsing, but the Manta style now complete on the Spectre. And a good, decent smoke. Just get a quick kill for them. A small boost of gold and XP for everyone on the side of... Dota Weebs. And now look at this. The Invoker's fallen very far behind on the net worth chart, and Gyrocopter less than 30 gold ahead of the Tinker, and Spectre about 300 ahead of the Gyro now, and the FAM are starting to build the lead and take away the lead of Dota Weebs, almost completely nullifying it now in a matter of how many minutes? In about 6 minutes, hardly even that, Dota Weebs lost a huge portion of their lead. Spectre can pretty much do whatever she wants for her next item. She's already very tanky, and her damage output is very, very high. Invoker trying to split push now, and I think that's the right choice. He should split push, find some levels, and it's like he actually opted for the Wex Sort build in the end, and I think that's probably pretty good. That's a pretty good choice, I think.
Dire structures are fortified. Dire's top tower
Venge going Aetherlands, maybe a Hood. Gyro actually going crit next. That's probably not bad. I guess they could use the damage. They could really use the damage to kill this Spectre really, really quickly before she just starts really tearing into them. Here's a Spectre, and they gotta be careful when trying to make the jump on her because her team is right there. Pipe is popped, and once it times out, it might be the moment for FAM to jump. But it looks like they just flirt with their tower and let it go, but the Shaker jumps forward and call down, drop defensively. Roar comes out. Spectre ult, Train Frost bouncing and hitting several. Necrobook popped, but the creeps die super quickly to the Lich Ball, and this fight is just looking terrible. Spectre died immediately, and now Tinker's on the run, but maybe he can find this guy. And really big plays from this gyrocopter, and good stomp from the Centaur, stopping that Spectre from doing anything. She just blowed up so quickly, but is Tinker going to be able to get this gyro on the return? Oh, good deafening blast, and now Tinker's the one that's going to go down. Fantastic. Great play from Dota Weebs, just immediately just taking the advantage right back, and another huge 3k gold shift. It's like a little salt from Invoker, quote unquote, stealing Gyrocopter's rampage. Good job, Cube. Jeez, man. Just really unfortunate how that fight turned out, and I think the roar was expended a little early and very likely on the wrong target. I think they should just save this roar for the Gyrocopter and try to get him down as low as they can before he pops that BKB. I don't think the Oracle ult went on the Spectre, and that's who they need to use it on. Just really, really unfortunate, and I'm just going to take a quick look at the combat log. Where is Spectre? Actually, you know what? Oracle. Because I am very curious to see... I guess I'm not allowed to see the combat log. Well, but I just think it might be a little bit of poor spell usage from Fam, and that may have just swung the game right back in favor of Dota Weebs, and suddenly they get almost all the advantage they had lost right back. Focus on the run. Tinker unfortunately blinking the wrong way. No Hex in time, and he gets tornadoed, and Invoker's just going to walk away. Invoker does have Ags now, so he can invoke very, very quickly. Gyrocopter's waiting. He's only 20 gold away. And now Gyrocopter has a Daedalus. He's going to be hitting like a truck. Don't care how tanky your Spectre is. That's going to be some pretty hefty damage. I think his next item could be something like a Butterfly. A Scotty would be good. Maybe. No, because he already has the HOD. So not Scotty. Butterfly then. Spectre needs to be careful. Gyrocopter just now 2k ahead of her and 3k ahead of Tinker. Oracle just hitting level 11 now, and that's going to help a lot, I think, the next level in False Promise. Beastmaster using his Necro Creeps and his Boars to shove out this lane. Tinker does have Scythe, so I think they just need to roar Scythe this Gyro if they can and kill him, but Venge closing in on Aether Lens will probably just swap him out, especially after the Aether Lens. Swap level 2 range is already pretty large, but with an Aether Lens, she's going to be able to swap that Gyro out of danger from extremely far away and would be more than happy to trade her own life for his. Ghostwalked Invoker on the hunt, and he might just find someone. This poor Oracle wandering right into a death trap. Oh, geez, he knows something's up now, and it's over. Just quickly blown up by this Invoker. Dota Weebs back in control of just every aspect of this game. Fam can't even walk into their own jungle without very likely getting killed, and I don't know if they're going to be able to defend this tower. Trying to slow it down with the fissure, and Alacrity'd up Gyrocopter. Centaur now has Ags, so they can chase them anywhere. Fam not even safe in their own base anymore. If Dota Weebs get vision inside the high ground, they can just run up here from the low ground, just run up on the side and just flank them and tear Fam apart in this game. There's not a lot of time left for Fam. They have to make something happen soon, and perhaps that really good play from Tinker at the Roche Pit was just delaying the inevitable. The XP graph's 10k in favor of Dota Weebs, more than that even. This Beastmaster going for a Blink Dagger, I would guess, so that he can just roar like the backline targets. And with Aether Lens, how long is the swap? That's just ridiculous. the range is almost as big as if it was max rank, and at max rank it's going to be so far, and she's going to be able to swap people from the high ground with ease. It's like Spectre trying to farm something up. She's sitting on top of 3.5k, but maybe wants to save for buyback, or maybe she just thinks it's time to buy out and get your items. I think Butterfly would be pretty good. Would help reduce a lot of the damage she's taking. Scotty wouldn't be bad either. Travel is now on the gyro, so split pushing becomes really hard for Fam. Invoker pinging out. Knows that there's a couple people here, and soon they're going to know he's here just because of this slow. They put down a sentry ward, and oh no, it's too late, and unfortunately the ward didn't go off, and the call down, and just quickly 3 heroes dead just in a matter of seconds. They didn't lose Spectre and they didn't lose Tinker, but there's no way these heroes can defend on their own. Buyback not available on either the Beastmaster Oracle or Earthshaker. Roshan's up and definitely going to Dota Weebs this time, and I really don't think Tinker can make a cheeky play on top of the Beastmaster board now, on top of the Beastmaster Hawk this time. With this Aegis, I don't know how much hope they have of stopping this gyrocopter. Yeah, with Alacrity, just massive DPS, and all they need to do now, all Dota Weebs need to do now is just make sure this gyro does not die. And with Swap plus Frost Armor plus Alacrity plus Mech plus Glimmer Cape plus that BKB and his Aegis, I really don't see how he can die. Tinker trying to slow down the push with March, and it seems to be working pretty well. It will be kind of hard for them to break high ground, and while it's happening, Spectre trying to fight the Centaur, and he might actually get the kill on him, and Spectre split pushing the map, maybe forcing someone back, but while it's happening, Dota Weebs just run into the base. A good Hex to save this Oracle, and the Oracle has to come out though. Roar dropped. But Spectre coming back in, but it might be too late. The fight looks like it's ending now, and really good Flame Strike, but this Invoker might lose his life. Spectre just beats him up. The Aegis is still there, but now he's all alone, so maybe they jumped the gun and ran in the base, and this is definitely a double dead gyro with the Hexes coming out, and really well played from Fam, and now it's Spectre's turn to grab an ultra kill, and I wonder what she's gonna go next. She just has so much gold. She's buying the full Heart of Tarask, just pure tankiness now, and Tinker taking the opportunity to split push this bottom tower. Just a little over aggressive, and since I didn't see the start of that, I wasn't really sure how it ended up happening, but just over aggression coming out from Dota Weebs, maybe thinking they had an advantage where they didn't, but going up high ground like that is dangerous, especially when your gyro is like all the way up here and the rest of your team is down here. I think they just I think what they just should have done is sit the gyro here, the team behind him, attack the tower. That's it. Just take this T3, take racks. If they jump the gyro, then you respond. You Centaur ult in, you Tornado, you Deafening Blast, you do all of that, but this was just too early, and Gyro getting a little ahead of himself, and that cost Dota Weebs quite a lot, and I think the advantage, I wonder if it's updated. Wow, if it's updated, then not a huge swing, but Dota Weebs do have a very large lead accumulated, so what doesn't look large could have been a 3 or 4k gold swing. Centaur could go for a Heart, a BKB, a Halberd might be okay. Boker pushing out the bot lane. And this Centaur is probably dead. He's not going to be able to blink away, and there's so many hexes, but Good swap from the bench, but here comes the Spectre ult, and maybe she came a little soon. The roar on the gyro, on and during his BKB though. The tornado to catch the 2, but Spectre has to get out of here soon, I think. Or maybe not. Great Echo Slam, and Tinker just zapping that Beast Mat, zapping the Centaur, and Gyrocopter getting out, but Invoker dying too quickly in the fight to really contribute much. Just killed so fast on the back line. And another 4K gold swing in favor of Fam, and I'm gonna have to start using the zoom function so I can see where people die. Tinker wasn't quite done yet. So small boost of gold for Tinker there. This could be Elena Rax. I don't think buybacks are ready. No buyback on Gyro, only on Invoker. Will he be able to buy time? But Gyro's back up, and she might lose his life here though. Maybe not though. It looks like maybe Fam overcommitting a little bit. Now this Spectre is just huge with 6K gold. I wonder what her next item is going to be. She could probably go for travels, sell that phase, and maybe go a Butterfly, become even tankier, increase her damage output a little bit. Scotty wouldn't be bad if she wants even more tank, but I think she could afford some damage now. Let's see what she's got. Yep, she's going the Butterfly. And she definitely can afford the full thing. That's pretty impressive. See if she has buyback after pushing the Butterfly, because if Dota Weebs just win that one fight, it could be over. I don't think Spectre can 1v1 this Gyro, but we'll see. The whole team is coming in, and she gets tornadoed. Oh, Spectre caught out. Wait, where'd she jump? She jumped back onto the bench. The bench does have swap ready, but they can't see her. Really good plays from Bo Bryan. Like, absolutely fantastic, and just able to TP out to safety. Now has his Butterfly finish. If they got that kill, he does not have buyback. That would have been mass. That would have been huge for them. They could have taken so much, but they committed so many resources on trying to get him, and they failed to do so. And Tinker going Shiva's Guard, and now Dune getting caught out once more, but perhaps this tornado can save him. Tinker looks like he's going to get on the retreat, glimmered up, and Slam is going to be the sacrificial lamb here, and maybe he tries to TP out, but I don't think it's going to happen. Swap to cancel, and he pops. Beastmaster with travels now and going for the Assault Pure Ass. Tinker very, very close to his Shiva's Guard. Tinker has his Shiva's Guard. The Spectre still does not have buyback, so she has to be careful. If she gets caught out, it could cost her team the game. They don't have any T2s, and this lineup of Dota Weebs pushes very quickly. Neither team claiming a set of racks yet, though, so the game has become very interesting. Spectre and Gyro both respectively tops of the net worth. Gyro now has Satanic, and that could really help the survivability in these fights. Spectre does not have her ult available yet, not for 20 seconds. Good blink, dodging the tornado and the Wave of Terror. Beastmaster and Spectre pushing this in, forcing a ton of rotations. Is Spectre going to be able to get out of here, though? She's so tanky, but there's so many heroes around. Now her illusions are coming out, and they're just tearing apart the Invoker in this. Wow, Spectre actually getting a kill on the Venge with her illusion, but she is dead. But now with that kill, getting buyback up, and Gyrocopter got the kill on her, getting 769 gold. She's still 2-ish K ahead of the Gyrocopter. And I wonder where this Gyro's going to go next. Perhaps an MKP or even a Butterfly of his own. Spectre is basically 6 slotted. She could sell the Vanguard and sell the Phase Boots though to upgrade for something. That tier 3 tower is very low. Both teams just trying to find objectives, but always forced back by something. Fam playing their draft like the way it's supposed to be, splitting up the map, forcing rotations, and creating space. I feel like the Shaker should have got a Force Staff instead of a Veil, but the Force Staff is not a bad buy. Or sorry, the Veil is not a bad buy, but the Force Staff would have helped him position a little better. Invoker catching 2 with Tornado, but doesn't look like a lot's going to come of it. Gyrocopter could be going for a Divine Rapier, going all or nothing and taking this game. Tinker just vomiting spells and items out now. So hard to push up against this hero, and their Spectre's not even going to have to expend her buyback. Gyrocopter BKB'd up on the high ground and attacking the tier 3 tower. But now he doesn't have BKB for the coming fight, and Spectre will be back very soon. They just barely failed to get that, and now Beastmaster might be in trouble. Gyrocopter's on the way. He needs to micro these creeps, and that creep's doing a decent chunk of damage to this guy, and that just in the end farmed up. A good boost of gold for Gyro. He's probably okay with how that turned out. They did stop the push. Fam did stop the push, but they did lose their tier 3 tower. Both teams now without a T3 in mid. However, Fam do not have their Fortify. I actually feel like of these heroes, the Oracle has been the least effective. I think just poor spell usage, and he laned not that well. I think they should have just let the Spectre be alone. Just had a TP on him so that he could rotate and maybe save his teammates and maybe find a couple kills, but he just needs to get one good ult on the Spectre and it'll all be worth it. I wonder what Spectre is trying to get next. She did go Travels, so now she can join the split push party. Beastmaster's in trouble now. He's slowed up, stomped, and gonna be quickly taken out. He does not have buyback available. Yes, he does. He sells the recipe. Tinker tries to come in to give a bit of a hand, but might cost him his own life. Just barely getting out in time. And decent attempt from the Tinker, and Spectre continuing to pressure the top lane. His tower very, very low. Tinker TPing up, and Invoker's there now. But the illusions might be all they need to take this tower. Invoker denies the T3, but I think at this stage of the game, Fam are completely fine having a tower denied from them. I think all they care about now is just the map, the pressure it puts on, and just taking objectives so that they can get more objectives if they win another fight. And Roshan's up, and this could be the big one. This is Aegis and Cheese. They put this on the Spectre, who would very likely drop her Vanguard, or even the Tinker. It could be very, very strong on if he drops his Soul Ring for it. Spectre with a DD rune. Looks like they're going to try to go for it, and Dota Weebs don't really have good vision of this area on the map. So just check their vision. Dota Weebs have no idea this is going on right now. Oh, they scout it with the Sunstrike. They're on their way, but will they get there in time? Tornado is up, and that's a long-range spell. All the heroes of Fam positioned outside the pit, though. They fissure block them in, so trying to slow this Roshan down as much as they can. Spectre ults, stopping the blink from the Centaur. And Centaur comes in, call down's out. If they lose this could be pretty bad. Let's see what happens. Does anyone on the other side have the Earthshaker catching it? And really good play from him. She's still on deck. Looks like they're re-engaging now. But all into a stomp, and this Lich Ball is going to tear them apart. It's the second time this game that Fam have taken an Aegis, but unfortunately it's not going to be enough. Spectre gets swapped back and taken out, but where's Beastmaster at? Is he going to be trying to split push, or...
Top barracks are under attack.
Smoked up Oracle running back. Beastmaster has yet to look at the fountain, so don't know what he's up to, and this is some just friendly banter. Beastmaster now on the move. He's Spectre forced to buy back. If they lose this fight here, then they definitely lose the game, but Tinker putting up a valiant defense. No Aegis on either side, so... However, Cheese is on...
Radiant structures are fortified.
No one. Is Cheese still on the ground? Did someone kill the Cheese, or did someone on this team pick it up? Oh, Centaur. Oh, they picked him off up here. Just making an effort to split push as best they can, but quick rotations from Dota Weebs preventing the split push game. I think missing that a little bit, but that's not like it was gonna kill her or anything. The snipe. All of his spells are a little bit stronger now thanks to his Aghanims. Now Gyro is definitively at the top of the net worth chart, and Invoker is caught up to Tinker. What's important though is buyback status now. 3 heroes on Radiant and only 1 on Dire, so Dire really can't afford to lose this fight. If Fam loses this next fight without killing the Gyro, the Invoker, maybe the Venge, then they just basically automatically lose the game. If they lose the fight, like here. Over here, there's a little bit of a chance. Like, if they lose a fight inside this base, maybe. But anywhere on their side of the map, if they lose a fight, they lost. And Invoker going a Refresher Orb, very, very luxurious item for him. So I see double Deafening, double Tornadoes, double Meatballs, and he's still sitting on top of 3k, so buyback's still available. Gyro and Invoker have buyback, and those are the heroes that need it. Tinker 7-slotting himself, maybe? This next fight, if Radiant win, can close out the game. If Dire win, it may not close out the game, but it will definitely get them a lot closer to doing so. Tinker just trying to farm up a little bit. Push out the lanes. Center now with a Heart of Tarrasque, so return will be doing about 100 damage each time he's hit or so. And that's before reductions. It is physical damage, so it will be pretty heavily reduced against the Spectre, the Tinker, the Beastmaster, and yeah, everyone except the Oracle will be taking next to no damage from the return. Ugh, I had to stretch, I'm sorry. Looks like Fam are smoked up, maybe trying to get that range racks down. That one lane of advantage could be all they need. But Dota Weebs also smoked up and on the prowl. They find the Spectre, and unfortunately the Lich Ball is wasted, but Roar comes out on the Centaur. Maybe not the right target. A great Echo Slam, and Tornado catching 2. Necrobook used. Oracle blown up before he can ult. Oracle blown up. His ult used on the Spectre, but the Spectre going to be safe. The Gyro is just doing work in the back. And now it looks like Spectre's going to go down too. But she is healed up for a pretty significant amount after that. But it's not going to be enough. She gets nuked down, and only 2 buybacks up and on the Shaker and the Beastmaster. This could be the game, and despite a valiant effort by Fam, it could be over. A little bit of BM, but I don't blame him. This was a tiresome game, to say the least. Okay. Beastmaster buyback, but let's see how long it takes for Weebs to find out that buyback is unavailable on Spectre and Invoker if they don't already know it.
Dire's middle barracks have fallen. Dire's middle barracks have fallen.
Very apologetic Gyrocopter. Earthshaker's back, but not even the greatest Echo Slam in the world could save them here.
Under attack.
Getting a little heated, but
Dire's bottom tower
very valiant. Oh, but Oracle's back, but no Spectre, no Tinker for a minute, so they could probably just throw if they'd like, but they're gonna go for Megas.
Dire's bottom barracks are under attack.
This Oracle, I think, didn't accomplish everything they wanted it to.
Fallen.
I think it was
Under attack.
Dire's
a little... There's a Roar, and with Beastmaster and Boar, he might actually kill this Invoker.
Top barracks have fallen.
Yeah, the Necro Book plus the Boars. Beastmaster gets a solo pick off on the Invoker, but it's probably too late. Gyrocopter is still completely healthy, has MKV. He is disarmed now. They're slowing down the game. Megas are up, but I'm not sure how this lineup of Fam will be able to hold up against it. Invenge finishing Ags, another luxury item out on the side of Dota Weebs, and BKB and Satanic popped. BKB's down, and these Necro Creeps and Boars doing lots of work on this Gyrocopter. He could be in trouble, but I don't think Beastmaster really wants to man-fight him. Yeah, it looks like Tinker's here, and now Gyro's going to go down, but Centaur, Objective Gaming, going for objectives, but now that Spectre's there, he might have to back off. With Spectre's Dispersion and Radiance, they may actually be able, in March, they may actually be able to defend against Megas. He really wants them to call it, so trying to plead a little bit. We're going to be here for a little while longer, my friends. A little while longer. Yes. Good times. Good times. It's like 4 heroes dead for Dota Weebs, but with Mega Creeps already in the base, Fam are not going to be able to push out. The dream might just be dead, and that's pretty tragic if I do say so myself. Death by 1,000 cuts, and slowly but surely this Ancient will be going down. But AC finished now, so if Fam can find a way into Radiant base, there might be hope. Might be hope, but they have to get into the base and be able to break through backdoor protection and the fortification and the buybacks of Dota Weebs, which is pretty tall order. Spectre's gone. I don't know if she's going to reconnect, and I believe Fam have used all their allotted pause time. Beastmaster pauses the game. So while we're here, and I think this game is over, I guess we can talk about some of the things that probably went wrong for Fam. They got a fair bit out of their lanes, but took some pretty bad fights. And Beastmaster, I don't know if he should have rotated before he got at least Necro 1. Because he was running around with just Brown Boots and an ult, which, I mean, his ult is very strong, but it's not enough in these fights against, like, a Lich Ball plus a Call Down plus a Stampede. Plus inefficient spell usage, I believe. I think he roared Centaur and Venge in a lot of these fights, when really he should have been roaring the Invoker or the Gyro, and especially the Gyro as the game progressed. But Spectre did very well. She came back very well. Tinker did a good job creating space, but I think ultimately it came down to inefficient spell usage, and it took Shaker such a long time to get his Blink Dagger on, and that makes it so much harder for Fam to really take the fights when they know they can get them. Dota Weebs can initiate fights with the Centaur, but until your Shaker gets Blink, Fam don't have a good way, because the Beastmaster didn't get Blink till after his Necro 3, which he didn't get until like 25 minutes, so he didn't get Blink until 30 minutes, and it was almost too late then. They were slowly picking away at them, but it's... oh god. I'm sorry, that wasn't very professional, but...
Dyer's Ancient is under attack.
But... and the Oracle just didn't accomplish what I think they needed it to. He didn't get his ult on Spectre in the fights when they needed it to happen. And I think he could have rotated around the map more. Maybe protected the Beastmaster, protected the Tinker, because he's very good defensive support with Fate's Edict plus Purifying Flames. Pause time is per game, not on a cooldown of sorts. I'm pretty sure pause time is per game. Give me just one moment. I'm tabbing out. I know this is a nail biter of a game, but this hurts me, so I'm going to check. Oh, jeez. Alright, Spectre's back. We're back. And this has been a very good game, but it feels like this is an exercise in futility on the side of FAM. They have no map anymore. This is the extent of their domain, and honestly, this is really the extent of their domain, but fantastic plays, and Spectre getting a Desperation Rapier, and I don't think that actually helps her illusions that much. She'll be hitting very hard, though. Her illusions are so tanky. Tinker spamming the march, and Gyrocopter silver edged up, but now can be seen. Spectre trying to fight this gyro. This is the last ditch defense. It's just Spectre, Tinker blinking in, hexing up. Call down, Echo Slam, Chain Frost, Stampede comes out. Tornado catching a few. Gyro killing off 2. Oracle ulted himself again, and this looks like it's over. Tinker has buyback, but the Ancient is just going down so fast. He very quickly picks off the Vengeful Spirit, but the game ends. Very good game. I just think it was a lot of misplay from FAM. I think they laned a little poorly, and poor spell usage. I think they just missed their timings is another big part of it. They really missed hitting all of the timings they needed. They needed the Blink faster, they needed the Necro faster, Spectre needed her Radiance faster, and none of those things happened. And it cost them the game in the end, combined with a little bit of poor decision making, mixed in with some pretty big plays. But we'll see what they've got in store for us in Game 2. Oh boy, guys, how was that game for you? Because for me, it was a game. I'm waiting for the lobby to come back up. I'm not going to throw out my production value next level WordPad game starting soon thing. And if anyone watching knows someone who is a graphic designer or can just hook me up with a template to do a intermission screen for me, I'd really appreciate it. Alright, GG everyone. I'm going to be taking a quick bio break. I've had to use the bathroom since 30 minutes in the middle of that game, and I really feel like I need to do that now. So I will be back soon. I am back, and I hope you guys are still with me, but I can't really, and I'm standing up right now, but unfortunate, but I can't really look at chat while I'm casting, and I am on a 2-minute delay, so the game is a little bit of a we're taking a 10-minute break. Warranted. So let's see. what would I like to see in this coming game? Or I guess what would you like to see in this coming game? But I think I always want to see techies. I'm an avid, filthy, dirty techies picker myself. And that is a hero I would love to see. Oh, what's going on now? Uh-oh. Is my stream having a hard time? It looks like it is, actually. Give me one moment. Seems to be some technical issue with my stream. I apologize. I wonder what is wrong. So if there's, I can't tell from my end right now, but I'm a little worried about some technical issues. I'm having, if something's wrong quality-wise on the stream, please let me know. I am trying to make sure that it stays at least decent quality, and again, I appreciate your viewership, and I'm glad you guys are watching, but I don't want you to be watching garbage, so any criticisms, any feedbacks at all, I take very seriously, and I consider very valuable.